to another Minecraft build video. Today we're building a modern starter house inspired by some of the clean, contemporary designs that have become really popular in Minecraft over the years. One of the questions I get asked a lot is why I enjoy building modern houses so much in Minecraft. The answer is actually pretty simple. Modern builds give you a lot of freedom whilst maintaining a clean and organised appearance. You don't need complicated roof designs. You don't need hundreds of decorative blocks. You don't need every wall covered in detail. Instead, modern architecture relies on shape, proportion, and contrast. When those three things work together, the build almost creates itself. That's one of the reasons that I think modern builds are great for both beginners and experienced players. A newer player can build something more simple and still achieve a really nice result. A more experienced player can take the same concepts and push them much further. As we're continuing to work on this structure, I'm paying attention to balance. Balance is one of those things you don't always notice when it's done correctly, but you definitely notice when it is wrong. If one side of the build feels so heavy compared to the other, the entire structure can just feel awkward. If everything is perfectly symmetrical, sometimes it can feel boring. The challenge is finding a middle ground. You want enough balance to make the build feel intentional, but enough variation to make it feel interesting. This is what we're trying to achieve here. The goal for this build isn't to create the biggest mansion possible for use, or use thousands of rare materials. Instead, we're focusing on creating something that looks impressive while still feeling practical and achievable. One of the things I enjoy most about Minecraft is that every build starts exactly the same way. You begin with an empty space, a vision in your mind, and a few blocks in your inventory. From there, it's all about creativity and patience. For this project, we're building into the hillside to help the house to blend naturally with the terrain. Building with the landscape instead of fighting against it often creates a much more realistic and interesting result. As we start laying down the foundation, I'm already thinking ahead about future upgrades. One mistake a lot of players make is building something that looks good initially, but leaves no room for expansion later. I wanted this house to feel like the beginning to a larger project, rather than the finished destination. The foundation is one of the most important parts of any build. Even though most people focus on the walls, windows, and roof, the foundation determines how everything else comes together. As we continue working around the perimeter, you can see that the footprint of the house starts to take shape. It's not massive, but that's intentional. A starter house should feel manageable. One of the biggest advantages of a modern design is the simplicity. Modern houses rely on clean lines, contrasting colours, and thoughtful use of space rather than excessive detail. We're using a combination of white and grey blocks because the contrast helps to define the structure. The white sections stand out whilst the dark grey blocks add depth and prevent anything from blending together. As we move into the lower floor, you start to establish the main living area. I always try to imagine how the space would function if someone actually lived there. Where could the kitchen go? Where could the seating area go? Where would players store their resources after a long mining trip? Thinking about functionality helps to create builds that feel more believable. One thing I find really relaxing about Minecraft is the pace. In most games, you're constantly having to react. You're fighting, competing, racing, trying to stay alive, trying to stay ahead. Minecraft can be like that too, but building is different. Building gives you permission to slow down. You can stop, think, experiment, try something, remove it, replace it, try again. There's no rush, and honestly, I think that's the reason that so many players continue coming back coming back to this game year after year. Sometimes life moves so fast, and with life moving fast enough already, having a creative outlet where you can slow things down is so valuable. Now, bringing up the walls and creating larger openings for windows, natural lighting is a huge part of modern architecture, and Minecraft is no different. Large glass panels help to connect the interior to the surrounding environment and make smaller spaces feel significantly larger. One thing I love about building in Minecraft is that there's rarely one correct answer. Two players can start with the same materials and end up creating completely different masterpieces. That's one of the reasons that this game continues to be so popular after all these years. It gives people an opportunity to express themselves creatively. As the lower floor comes together, you start to get a better understanding of the overall proportions. The house feels more balanced, it feels open, and most importantly, it feels like something that could actually grow over time. Now, shifting your attention to the upper floor is where the modern aesthetic really starts to come together. We extend sections of the structure outwards to create overhangs and layered shapes. Small details make a huge difference visually. Without them, the house would feel flat. With them, the design gains depth and character. One thing I've learnt through building over the years is that patience almost always produces better results. Sometimes it's tempting to rush through a project. Sometimes you just want to finish. But the builds you're usually the most proud of are the ones where you slow down and pay attention to the details. As we continue adding to the floors, you can see how the house begins to interact with the landscape around it. The hillside becomes a part of the build rather than just simply existing behind it. That relationship between structure and environment helps to create a much more natural look. We're adding more glass sections throughout the upper level. Modern builds often rely heavily on transparency. The windows allow you to showcase the interior spaces whilst making the exterior feel lighter and less bulky. At this stage, the skeleton of your house is essentially complete. Everything from this point is all about refinement. It's about taking a good build and making it feel great. Moving on to the roof now. Flat roofs are one of the defining characteristics of modern architecture in Minecraft. They're clean, they're simple, and they provide opportunities for additional features. Speaking of additional features, one of the biggest changes we've made compared to the original inspiration was replacing a ground level pool with a rooftop pool. I felt like the rooftop version added a much more unique look whilst making better use of the available space. Not only does it provide a luxury element, but it also creates an amazing focal point for the entire build. As we continue refining the roofline, the house is starting to look less like a construction project and more like a home. Now that the structure is becoming more complete, we're starting to focus on the details. The details are where good builds become memorable. A stair placement, a lighting choice, a pathway design. Individually, they seem small, but together they create atmosphere. And atmosphere is what makes a build feel alive. One thing I've always loved about Minecraft communities is how supportive they can be. People share ideas, offer feedback, help newer players to improve, celebrate each other's projects. That's something I hope continues to grow around this channel. Because at the end of the day, we're all here because we enjoy creating things. Nobody starts as an expert. Everybody learns. Everybody improves. Everybody builds something ugly at some point. Trust me. I've definitely built my fair share of questionable creations over the years. And honestly, I think that's important to remember. Progress matters more than perfection. Every builder you admire started somewhere. Every incredible creator once struggled with simple builds. The difference is they kept going. They kept learning. They kept practicing. and eventually those small improvements added up. Now we're on to one of my favourite parts of the project, the rooftop area. This completely changes the personality of the build. A rooftop pool adds something so unique. It's functional, it's visually interesting, and it immediately creates a luxury feeling. Even though this is still a starter house, adding one standout feature helps it to feel special. Every memorable build has something that makes people stop and look twice. For this house, I think the rooftop pool accomplishes exactly that. As we're working on these touches, I want to take a minute to thank everyone who watches these videos. Whether you've been here since the beginning or this is your first video, I genuinely appreciate you spending your time here. There are countless videos available online, so the fact that you're watching this one means a lot. Every comment, every like, every suggestion, every piece of feedback helps this community to continue growing, and I will never take that for granted. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the Discord community, because honestly, it's becoming one of my favourite parts of being a content creator. Videos are amazing because they allow us to share projects. Discord is amazing because it allows us to have conversations. It allows us to interact, share ideas, vote on future builds, show off our own creations, ask questions, help each other improve, and sometimes just talk about life. Whether you're a master builder, a complete beginner, a survival player, a creative player, or a redstone expert, or simply just someone who enjoys watching Minecraft content, you're completely welcome to join. Something even more important is that mental health matters. It really does. Life gets complicated sometimes. People deal with stress, school, work, family challenges, personal struggles, and often those things aren't visible. You never really know when someone else might be carrying something bad on their shoulders. This is why kindness matters. A simple conversation can make a huge difference. A supportive message can make a huge difference. Feeling included can make a huge difference. Our goal is to build a positive community where everyone feels welcome, a place where people can connect, a place where people can share experiences, and a place where people can simply be themselves. One thing I've learned is that communities are built one person at a time. Every member contributes something unique. Every conversation matters. Every friendship starts somewhere. That's why I always encourage people to introduce themselves when they join. You never know who you'll meet, and you never know what connections you'll make. Sometimes the people you meet through a shared hobby become your lifelong friends. Then you gotta work on the pathways and the outdoor spaces. Landscaping is often overlooked, but it's one of the most important aspects of building. A beautiful house surrounded by empty terrain never feels complete. Even simple additions like pathways, plants, lighting, even elevation changes can dramatically improve the overall presentation. One thing you'll notice is we decided not to include a waterfall feature from the inspiration image we had. Instead, we focused on keeping the terrain cleaner and allowing the architecture itself to become the centerpiece. However, this may change in the next video. Sometimes knowing what not to add is just as important as knowing what to add. As we continue detailing, we're also thinking about the future expansion opportunities. We've intentionally left room for growth. Maybe in the future, we'll add a garage, maybe an underground storage system. maybe an entire additional wing connected to the main structure. The possibilities are endless. That's one of the reasons I love leaving expansion space in my builds, because it creates opportunities rather than limitations. Minecraft is a game built around endless possibilities. Every block you place creates new opportunities for creativity. Every project teaches you something new. Every world tells its own story. And speaking of stories, every player behind the screen has a story too. That's actually something I want to talk about for a moment. Whilst we spend a lot of time discussing builds, redstones, survival strategies, and creative projects, it's important to remember that there's a real person behind every username. Life isn't always easy. Everyone faces challenges. Everyone experiences setbacks. Everyone has days where things feel overwhelming. Mental health is incredibly important, and it's something we should all take very seriously. Sometimes people feel like they have to carry everything on their own. Sometimes they feel like nobody understands what they're going through. But the truth is that nobody should have to face difficult moments completely alone. That's one of the reasons we've been working on building a positive community around this channel. Not just a community focused on Minecraft or the other games we play, but a community focused on people. A place where everyone can feel welcome. A place where we can share ideas, celebrate achievements, and support one another. If you'd like to be a part of that community, we've created a Discord server, and the link is available in the pinned comment below. Whether you're looking for people to play Minecraft with, whether you want to share your own builds, whether you have suggestions for future videos, or whether you simply just want to talk with others who enjoy the same things that you do, we'd love to have you join us. And if you're someone who is having a difficult day, feeling isolated, or just looking for a positive environment, you're welcome there too. You don't have to have the best builds. You don't have to be an expert player. You don't have to prove anything. Just come as you are. Everyone is welcome. One of my goals for this channel has always been creating something bigger than just videos. Yeah, videos are great. Builds are great. But communities are what last. Communities are what turn a simple hobby into something meaningful. So if you'd like to help shape future projects, vote on upcoming build ideas, share ideas, make friends, or simply hang out, check out the pinned comment and join the Discord server today. We'd genuinely love to see you there. Now, getting back to the build. We're putting the finishing touches on everything. The lighting is in place. The pathways are complete. The landscaping is looking great. And the rooftop pool is finally finished. Looking at the completed house is amazing to compare it with where we started. Just an empty section of terrain, a blank canvas. And now we have a modern home that's clean, functional, expandable, and visually striking. This build proves that you don't need a massive budget or endless resources to create something special and something impressive. Sometimes simple designs executed well can be just as effective as the largest mega builds. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and let me know in the comment section what you'd like to see next. Also, remember to check out the Discord server in the pinned comment if you'd like to join our growing community. If you want to take inspiration and make it completely yours, that's fine. Thank you all for spending this time with me, and thank you for being a part of this community. Remember to check out the Discord link in the pinned comment below. Take care of your mental health, support the people around you,